Hello and welcome. After a thrilling start to the season, we're here at Silverstone for round 2 of the Britcar Endurance Championship. And if race 1 is anything to go by, we're in for a real treat. In case you missed it, here's a quick reminder of what happened last time.
As the rolling start gets underway and the race roars into life, the charge down towards Abbey Corner. Who's going to get there? On board with Morcillo in second place, but up the inside goes the Rapier. Into third position already has come Ian Stinton. Now on board with the second place car, late on the brakes from Morcillo, and the Spaniard goes down the inside and just swoops past Millard for the lead of the race. And Morcillo is going to have to be a little bit defensive here. Mike Millard goes at the inside, he's going for the lead of the race, but he carried too much speed, he's lost the back end. There is the Class 4 leading Ian Anderson, Amanda Black, Ginetta G50. Right behind, that's Nathan Freet in the Harrier, which is up to third place overall. The top two are coming into the pits together. The Spice has retired, Kerry Moody out of the race. And in drama 2 is the BMW of Mike Moss and Tom Howard. And look at this, Mike Millard has been much quicker in the last few laps than Manuel Cintrano. Mike Millard comes through here as Cintrano runs wide through Abbey Corner, and he's got the lead of the race back. There in the Ferrari, number 31, Darren Nelson, 4th overall and leading the Class 2. In 5th place overall now is ex-British GT champion Callum Lockie in the Ferrari. On board with Guillaume Gruchet, who's in 7th place overall, and on for a class podium as well. Andrew Donaldson in 8th place. Should still have enough here to lead Class 3. But here comes the man who's going to win the race. Out through Club Corner for the final time. Mike Millard wins round 1 of Britcar. The opening weekend of the championship marked the perfect occasion to announce the welcome return of the Britcar 24-hour race, which is set to run here at Silverstone in April 2015.
We got support for it. We think it can happen. It's early in the year. People will still have a little bit of money left from Christmas. We are also in discussions with Britcar on a joint venture, a joint thought about their 24-hour race. So the opportunities for people to do a Britcar 24-hour race and possibly a Britcar 24-hour race later in the year is very much on the cards.
So there's so much to look forward to in race 2, but before we get into the action, I spent the afternoon catching up with the teams in the paddock. So how do you feel looking at this weekend here at Britcar?
I'm so looking forward to it. I've been like, my wife told me I was like a child waiting for Christmas, so I was up at 5 a.m. this morning, all excited to be back in the car racing. So yeah, can't wait. So
is this the first time you've raced with Britcar?
No, I've raced it with Britcar probably 6 or 7 years ago. I did the Britcar 24-hour with the Ginetta previously, and I think we came 4th in class and 6th overall.
How do you feel coming into it this weekend?
I was apprehensive because I've been 3 years out of racing, so first year back for the 3 years. Excited, a bit nervous, but we've done a few tests and the tests have gone well. Today's gone well, so I'm really happy with it.
So what preparations personally have you had to do if you've taken 3 years out?
Bit of training on track testing. I do a little bit of instructing, so I keep my hand in, but I haven't actually done any competitive racing. Just keep in the gym, try and eat well. All the things I should do off track to prepare for on track, but you know, once you get out there, it really doesn't matter about any of that. You know, you need the race head on, the focus on. So it's good to get back in the swing of things this weekend.
And why Britcar?
I love the endurance. It's the GT cars, the endurance, the longer races, a lot of track time. You know, there's some good drivers out there. The cars are good, competitive. So the whole package, really, I just enjoy the racing. With the sprint races, you know, you've got nothing to lose, 20 minutes. But with the endurance racing, everyone's got their percentage to input, whether it's the car, team, the tyres, the drivers, your second driver. I think it's the whole package that I like.
So tell us how you feel looking forward at this weekend's racing.
I'm really excited and really looking forward to it. It's always a pleasure racing a Ferrari, and it's great working with Darren and his team because it's a new adventure, a new journey for him because he's not long started racing, so he's learning as he goes along, and it's great for me coaching him and helping him through all aspects of turning up at a race meeting and getting started and overcoming pre-race nerves, and then really focusing on his job as a driver, which is to be as precise as he can and consistent as he can and go as fast as he can, while also helping with the team and also the strategy and everything. So yeah, it's a great moment.
Well, you're also an instructor. What about the techniques required to drive a fast lap around Silverstone, would you say?
The first thing you do is focus on precision, because the moment you can start placing the car accurately around the circuit, you can then start to develop speed. So that's the first step, and then it starts to evolve from that.
Well, Mike Millard came out in pole position for race 1, but race 2 has an entirely separate qualifying session. Here's Chris Hartley for all the qualifying highlights.
Dry but slightly chilly weather conditions awaited as the second qualifying session of the season got underway. In addition to featuring GTs and sports cars from the 3 main endurance championship classes, the grid for this one was also open to entries from Class 5 for 2-litre touring cars, running in the separate Britcar Sports and Touring Car Championship. And from that category came the Civic 2000 of Ryan Keverty and Dave Whitmore. Having missed race 1 due to technical problems with their newly upgraded Chevron, there was a welcome return for Jensen Lunn and Alistair Lindsay, who managed to post the 8th fastest time. Following their Class 2 victory in the season opener, the BAMD Ferrari 458 of Darren Nelson and Nigel Greensall qualified 7th, with a time of 1 minute 9.996 seconds. That was less than 2/10 slower than Andrew Donaldson in the Ginetta G50 heat taken to a Class 3 win in race 1. But by just 83 thousandths of a second, the fastest Class 3 qualifiers were Nick Barrow and Jamie Morrow in their BMW 150 GTR, 5th on the grid, their reward for an excellent performance. With teammate David Mason feeling unwell, Callum Lockie would be driving the FF Corsa Ferrari solo in this race. A time of 1 minute 6.228 put the Scot 4th on the grid and quickest in Class 2. Mike Millard wasn't able to replicate his race 1 pole position, the Rapier lining up 3rd on the grid with a time of 1 minute 4.162. There was very little to choose between the top 2 throughout qualifying. With just a couple of minutes remaining, Nathan Freak put the Stark Racing Ginetta onto provisional pole with a time of 1 minute 3.765. But in the dying moments, Javier Morcillo squeezed a time of 1 minute 3.509 out of the Neil Garner Motorsport Run Mosler to snatch pole position by just 2/10 of a second. Morcillo and fellow Spaniard Manuel Centrano in search of their first outright win since the opening round of 2013.
It's time for us to take a short break now, but join us for more action from Silverstone in just a few minutes' time. Welcome back to Silverstone, the home of British motorsport and the venue for round 2 of the Britcar Endurance Championship. Your race commentator is Chris Hartley.
Here's a reminder then of how they'll line up at the sharp end of the grid. Morcillo and Cintrano on pole from Stinton and Freak. Millard starts 3rd. On his own, Callum Lockie completes the outside of row 2. Ready for the rolling start then, the second 90-minute race of the weekend here at Silverstone. The Mosler on the left makes a good start with Javier Morcillo on board. Everybody cleanly away. Looks like a good start for Mike Millard as well. And Callum Lockie goes straight through in the Ferrari into 3rd place. On board with Nigel Greensall as he tries to go around the outside of the Barrow Morrow BMW. And at the inside of it went Andrew Donaldson in the black Ginetta. They both squeezed through. And now Jensen Lunn in the little Chevron GT3 is trying to squeeze through as well. There it is, the blue and yellow car. Past the BMW it goes. You're watching it on board with Guillaume Gruget, the French driver, in his Porsche. The BMW now runs wide and Gruget in the Class 2 Porsche comes through on the run onto Hanger Straight. Already at the end of that straight, there's the race leader going through Stowe Corner. Great start for Morcillo. On board now, it's Nigel Greensall about to cruise past the Andrew Donaldson, James Cottingham Ginetta. Greensall's Class 2 Ferrari with more grunt than the Class 3 Ginetta, so he just drives past him on the run down the Hanger Straight into Stowe Corner. Meanwhile, making his way into Vale and then Club Corner, the right-hander to round out the lap is Javier Morcillo, who's going to try and build up as much advantage as he can in the first stint of this race. And a change of position here in Class 3. That is the Adam Hayes Mark Radcliffe Intersport BMW passing Anna Walewska with the onboard camera. Teammates, both of those BMWs, both run by Intersport. But they're battling for second in class because Andrew Donaldson still leads Class 3 in the early stages. There is the BMW then at the end of the first lap. Very late on the brakes here from Walewska. Starting to close in now onto the tail of the M3 just in front of her. Getting a good run down towards Farm Corner. The back of the field, that's the Ryan Cafferty Dave Whitmore Honda from Class 5. Just behind it was Nick Holden's Toyota, which has been repaired since its early dramas in Race 1. On board with Mike Millard in second place, the Race 1 winner. Already losing quite a lot of time here to Javier Morcillo, but he knows that the driver to get into that Mosler, second after the pit stops, Manuel Centrano, isn't quite as quick as Javier, so just try and keep tap with the race leader in the Neil Garner Motorsport run car. And then in fifth place, this is on board with Nigel Greensall now, who has been a teammate to Mike Millard. He got the Rapier on pole position at Donington for the first round of the championship last year, but racing with Darren Nelson this year in the Ferrari. So there's second, there's third, Callum Lockie, and there is fourth, just behind Ian Stinton in the Stark Racing Run Ginetta. The leader makes his way through to Village Corner. Nice, smooth driving style for Javier Morcillo, who got pole position here at Silverstone for the 24-hour race. They just missed out on a podium. There's that BMW of Nick Barrow and Jamie Morrow, which is going well. It went well in the first race as well. And there's the Toyota that I mentioned, the GT86, run by Rogue Motorsport, which has been prepared and then repaired for this race. Back to this battle then for Class 3 between the two Intersport BMWs. Anna Walewska, who started a career when she was just 11 years of age in karting, now wrestling this BMW around Silverstone. Back to Britcar after a few years away. Finished third in the championship back in 2007, but not such a good run onto the back straight, losing time again there. On the other straight, there is the Mosler, storming its way through down towards Abbey Corner. Almost the entire straight length clear already of the second place Rapier, driven by Mike Millard. There he is, and he's pulling away in turn now from Callum Lockie, who won the Britcar title in 03, 06 and 2011. There's Ian Stinton, just behind him in the Ginetta, with a very quick driver to get into that car, Nathan Freak, ex-Formula 4 champion. Again, Gruchet losing a place here to the BMW, so that's a Class 3 150 coming past the Class 2 Porsche. There is Guillaume Gruchet, number 24 machine, his first season of the Endurance Championship, having raced in the Production Cup last year. And here is the race leader starting to lap the slower cars now. This is a real feature of Britcar racing. All these different classes based on power to weight ratios, very different performances of cars. So there is the race leading Mosler, starting to get in between this fight between the BMWs now, on board with Anna Walewska, who's maybe trying to take advantage of this now. If the Mosler gets in the way of her competitor, she might be able to close the gap back up to the Adam Hayes Mark Radcliffe BMW. Look how close it is between these two still, battling away. The third and fourth positions, Ian Stinton with more power available to him, but trying to get past Callum Lockie. And this is Morcillo going past that BMW, the Intersport BMW, lapping it. Got delayed for a little while, and now you'll see just how much more grunt he has, even than the Porsche of Guillaume Gruchet, which he just cruises past before they get anywhere near the braking zone. There's the Class 3 leader, Andrew Donaldson, in the G50, the Ginetta. The third of the Intersport cars, but coming under pressure now from Jensen Lunn in that Chevron, which has been beefed up over the winter, moved up to a Class 1 car. Very lightweight car, the Chevron. The Capital Compactor's entered car, has a look at the inside now, on the way to Abbey Corner, and breaks up into the top 6. So good stuff here from Jensen Lunn, making that Chevron work. There's the FF Corsa team watching their man, Callum Lockie, driving the Ferrari in the top 3 at the moment, trying to chase down this man, Mike Millard, in second position. Now his hand's just come off the wheel there. He's raised his hand and he's going into the pits, and this is an unscheduled stop, so a problem for Mike Millard. There you can see the red Ferrari of Callum Lockie, which goes to second place now. And Ian Stinton, who started his career back in the mid-1990s in hill climbs in Westfields, he's chasing him down still. So they're now second and third, and there couldn't be much less of a gap between them as they go down towards Abbey. but into the garage. This was so often the case last year. Mike Millard's Rapier very quick, but a little bit fragile. So here's Jensen Lunn, having got that position away now from Andrew Donaldson. So they're 5th and 6th now. Just behind them in 7th place is Nick Barrow and Jamie Morrow BMW. And again, we've got this battle between the two Class 3 Intersport BMWs. This is a much better run from Anna Walewska. Almost onto the tail now of the number 42 BMW, having a look at the inside on the way into Abbey Corner. Surely she's going to get through, but the gap closes and closes. The two teammates almost come together. And running wide on the exit to Abbey Corner is the number 42. Hayes and Radcliffe BMW, and now she gets down the inside, under braking, down to first gear, into the right-hander at Village. Nice tidy move there, but she gets lots of oversteer coming out of the corner as she gets on the throttle, and the power goes through the rear wheels. And there, Mike Millard, I'm afraid, still stuck in the garage, and it looks like pretty much the end of his race here. The 61-year-old will have to settle for the one win this weekend here at Silverstone. Still, we've got this battle going on between Jensen Lunn's Chevron and the number 41 Andrew Donaldson Ginetta. Donaldson getting a better run, coming out through Club Corner though, and they're going to be absolutely wheel to wheel as they go onto the international pit straight now. Almost dwarfing the Chevron, that Ginetta, isn't it? Down the inside he'll go. Jensen Lunn will have to give the place back. Good move that from Andrew, which he built up at the end of the preceding lap. So there's the number 31 Ferrari of Nigel Greensall, which is up to 4th place now. There's Gruchet. And then we've got these two Intersports BMWs. And Anna Walewska is now trying to find a way past the Class 2 Porsche. Shouldn't have as much power as that Porsche, but she's very quick through the link. Runs very, very wide though on the exit to Village Corner. And they see Gruchet coming back ahead of us. So a good little duel developing there between them. There's Callum Lockie. He's driven more powerful cars in that Ferrari. Back in 2000, he raced a 700 brake horsepower Marcus Montara to the British GT title. Back on board with Anna Walewska, who's had a very lively start to this race. Trying to come back at the Guillaume Gruchet Porsche, and the BMW set up very nicely here. The ex-Thorny Motorsport car down the inside, and that well-prepared Intersport car picks up the place. But again, Gruchet is going to have more power as a Class 2 car, and he should be able to drive back ahead in a straight line, although he hasn't got there yet. And if Anna can be late enough on the brake, she might have a chance, but no, Guillaume comes through. Back at the inside he goes. Oh, dramas, I'm afraid, here. Into the pits comes Jensen Lunn in the Chevron GT3.
Car was running fine. We had a few cooling issues, but that was all under control, and we were getting up to our fuel stop point. And then we actually shredded the studs on the rear stub axles, and that's a race finishing exercise. Luckily, I managed to get back into the pit lane, thinking initially it was a puncture, but when the guys saw it, they said it's not safe to carry on. So we thought, well, at this far in now, let's park it up. We've had a fairly strong weekend, and let's get ready for Donington. So that's us finished this weekend now.
To the middle portion of the race, tyre changes and for some driver changes, not for this car though, because with David Mason not feeling too well, Callum Lockie's doing the whole race by himself. And there is the other Ferrari, backed by Carnell, the number 31 machine, which won Class 2 in the first race, comes into the pits. So Nigel Greensall is now going to hand over to his less experienced teammate Darren Nelson. Oh, what a shame for the second race in succession. It's been quick, but Nick Barrow and Jamie Morrow's BMW is ground to a halt. There's Nigel Greensall out of the Ferrari. So as the BMW's pushed away, let's hear now from Nigel Greensall.
We're lacking a little bit of pace, but at the moment, we're second in class, and I suspect that's the best we can manage in this race. But there's still another podium, and Darren is driving remarkably well. He really is, given his lack of experience. The pace he's got, the consistency he's got, is fantastic.
Now, a development in the race. No one driver can drive for more than 50 minutes when there are two drivers sharing a car, and Nigel Greensall pitted after that 50-minute period. So this car under investigation. And there is the BMW of Anna Walewska, now driven by Ian Donaldson, which was involved in all those battles earlier in the race.
We got up to second in class, overtook teammates, so that's always good. And Ian Donaldson is now out completing it, so hopefully he'll bring it home second in class.
Well, unfortunately for Anna Walewska and Ian Donaldson, that car has now dropped back behind this one. Their teammates Adam Hayes and Mark Radcliffe, who were third in the Production Cup last year, back up ahead of them and back to second in Class 3 and to 6th place overall. This is the Class 3 leading car, the Intersport Ginetta of Andrew Donaldson and James Cottingham, going extremely well in 4th place overall. There's Guillaume Gruchet in 5th position overall, but 2nd in Class 2. Having a very solid weekend here at Silverstone. And there is Callum Lockie flying as ever, 3rd place overall in the race, but winning Class 2 for FF Corsa. There's Nathan Freak, former Autosport BRDC McLaren Young Driver of the Year finalist, closing the gap to the race leader by about a second a lap. But he's going to run out of time, I think, to get the race win. On board then with Manuel Cintrano. Javier Morcillo did a great job in the first part of the race, but Manuel's pace has been very good in the second half of the race, and it is going to get Neil Garner Motorsport their first victory of the season in round 2 of the Britcar Endurance Championship. So a terrific drive for the two Spaniards. They win by 25 seconds from Stinton and Freak, with Lockie 3rd. Greensall and Nelson crossed the line 4th, but were excluded from the race for that late pit stop. So the clash results: Morcillo and Cintrano, of course, the overall race winners, ahead of Stinton and Freak. Then in Class 2, Callum Lockie, 6 laps clear of Guillaume Gruchet in the Porsche. As for Class 3, there's another victory for Andrew Donaldson. Hazen Radcliffe finished 2nd ahead of Donaldson and Walewska. And finally, in Class 5, Kevin and Whitmore didn't finish the race, but were classified as class winners. So following their first outright victory in 12 months, Rachel caught up with our race winners.
And for you, it seemed pretty seamless, you guys, in that race. You were pretty much at the front the whole time. Did you feel that? Did you feel that confidence?
It looked easy, but it was not, because I was going to be leading in the first stint to the Ginetta. On second stint, Manuel was worst off with the faster driver in the Ginetta. So we thought he was going to catch us, and to a point, we thought he was going to get the lead. So we were really worried until 15 minutes to the end. We weren't sure we were going to win it.
Keeping up the pressure all the way through that race were Ian Stinton and Nathan Freak, who came home in 2nd place for Stark Racing.
Yeah, it was a good race. Ian did a fantastic job, and my stint was pretty quiet, really. I spent most of my own, just had a bit of a delta lap time to get to, and was hoping that the guys, Manuel was going to make a mistake, but unfortunately he didn't. So 2nd was still a good result for the team, and good result for first weekend out.
Yeah, it was just great. You know, you're beaming from ear to ear driving that car. It is fantastic. The boys have set it up really well, and it's just so nice to drive. And you just stamp on the brake pedal and the thing stops. Unbelievable.
Callum Lockie picked up the Sunoco Driver of the Day award. In this race, he finished 3rd overall and winner of Class 2.
It's been a really good race. Big thank you to Britcar for putting this on. What a load of track time. I mean, 4.5 hours of track time today. You can't beat it. Fantastic. Big thank you to David for putting me in the car with him, and a big thank you to FF Corsa. They're the best team. They really are top notch.
So with a win and a 2nd place finish in the 2 races here at Silverstone, Morcillo and Cintrano lead the point standings, but only by 3 from Mason and Lockie.
Well, what an electric start to the season. Join us next time for round 3 and 4 at Donington for the Britcar Endurance Championship. See you then.